Okay, we're live. This is Attorney Vince Davis, and this is The Secret: How to Fight CPS and Win. And I'm joined this evening by one of my co-hosts, Miss Cassandra Woodard. Miss Woodard, how are you doing this evening?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Doing good, doing good. I saw something in the private chat you wanted me to post when we started.
Yeah, it's a story, a really good story about um, the A ASFA, how we're coming up on the of that horrible thing coming into play and making everybody who's involved with CPS, basically. um,
Okay. All right. So we'll do
and
that
it
after we.
it talks about how, yeah.
Okay, we'll talk about that after we talk to Catherine. Catherine Sue Doyle. Hello. How are
Okay.
you this evening?
I'm fine. How are you?
Doing good. Doing good. Where are you coming from? Coming
Um,
to us.
I'm from Louisiana. But I had to come to Mississippi to be with my mom tomorrow. So I'm
Okay,
in
so,
Mississippi right now.
okay, but do you live in Mississippi or Louisiana?
I live in Louisiana.
Oh, what part?
I live right below Alexandria,
Okay.
about
Have you
38 minutes south.
have you ever heard of Slidell, Louisiana?
Oh yes, sir.
So I have relatives there in Slidell.
Yes.
All right. So you are somehow involved with CPS?
Well, yes, they call it DCFS here, but
Okay.
yes, sir.
Interestingly enough, in Los Angeles County, they call it DCFS.
Hmm.
And, all throughout the state of California and all over the country, they call it a little bit something different, right? But
Right.
generically, we all refer to it as CPS. Anyway, why don't you tell me your story? Start from the beginning and let me know what's going on.
Well, my husband and I had our grandchildren, and we decided that we wanted to be foster parents. And so we took classes and became foster parents. At our certification, I had a home development worker, and she came out and she did the certification. We had to give her documents from our doctor, what medications we were on, and all that. It just lots of questions, lots of classes, lots of hours. And we became foster parents. We were first given two girls, they were teens, and then probably 2 weeks later, I got a newborn, a little boy, and he was 4 days old. Then 6 months later, I got a 2 day old baby girl. And so I wound up having six children in my home. We raised these babies, uh, happy, healthy babies. They were addicted um, to drugs when they were born, is what I was told. And and I did, have to help them through some of the withdrawals and things. And they passed all their milestones because I worked with them. Um, they had a lady come out and told me that the little boy didn't need the services because he passed all his milestones without the services. But the little girl had a worker that came out, and they worked with her. I worked with her, and she passed all her goals too. So here we are, January of 2022. Um, we're in adoption with the two babies, and we had already been given the go ahead that we were going to adopt. And I have an open relationship with the little boy's mom because I don't believe that she should be shut out of his life because she's trying, and she wanted us to have him. And the little girl's mom and dad, they wanted us to have her too. So we were all set to adopt. And then January of 2022, somebody called in a false report on me. And it was a police report, but it was false. And they sent an investigator to my home, said they had to open up an investigation because I was a foster parent. They said that they had to do a thorough job. I said, okay, I understand. She said 30 to 45 days and it would be closed. Well, that 30 days went by, 45 days went by, months. I was not allowed to leave my home with the children in my car. I had to take drug tests, mental evaluations, uh, hair follicle, everything you could think of. I was jumping through hoops because that's what they asked me to do. And and the investigator, she kept wanting to close my case from the beginning because she didn't find any evidence of anything that was in that report that was true. So she wanted to close it, but my home development worker refused to do that. She would not let them close my case. And here I am 5 months later, May 16th. She calls me up in the morning, tells me that they're coming to get the kids. And I'm like, what? What are you talking about? And she said, well, we're closing your house and we're removing the children. I said, for what reason? Well, we have concerns about your medication. I said, no, you don't. I said, that's all been proven invalid. And she said, oh, well, that's our concerns and that's what I recommended. Okay. And I said, well, I need to call an attorney. And so I hung up the phone. She calls me back. Instead of coming to our house to get the children, she ordered us to bring the children to the police department. But what she didn't know was the chief of police was sitting on my front porch. And he took the phone and he told her, he said, why don't you come over here and get the kids? He said, this lady hasn't done anything wrong. These kids are happy, healthy, and nothing wrong with them. So, if you have paperwork or whatever, come get them. Well, no, they told us that we had to bring them over there, or they was going to send the police to get us and all kinds of stuff, just, I guess, threatening us. So we got them dressed and packed them up some clothes, and we went to the police department. She starts telling me that they decided to close my home because, how she put it, she said, you did not let us know that you was on this certain medication at certification. I said, lady, you're lying. I said, I had to hand you everything that I was on. I said, she knew from, I'm just going to let you know, I was on pain medication and I have raised these babies from birth. Not once have they ever been mistreated or anything. And, I'm sitting here like about to lose it because these are my babies. I don't care if they're blood or not. These are my babies. We were adopting them and here they are going to snatch them away from us. So we get there and I'm arguing with her in the police department. We're standing there and she's like, you did not tell us that you was on this medication. I said, you're lying. My husband, he was standing there telling her, you're lying. We told you everything. And she just kept on. I videotaped the whole thing. And so my husband is not one to, cry. He's one of the old timers. He just don't cry. And that day when they took them babies, man, it was bad. And when we went home, the first thing he said was, get on the phone, find an attorney. So we found an attorney. She filed right away and we went to court, probably a month and a half later. And they refused to they gave us 2 visitations with the babies and then told us it was our last visitation the day after my baby girl's birthday. And so then we went to court and their attorney had no clue what was going on, nothing. They lied to her. And so she was pretty upset with them. And I could hear a lot of arguing in the judge's chambers and stuff. And we had a few witnesses get up there during the court proceedings. And then he asked me to come up there and they asked me a bunch of questions. And I said, this is unfounded. Everything was invalid. And he asked the CPS worker or attorney, he said, I want the drug test. I want all this because before this happened, this woman had glowing recommendations from CPS. I had a good home, a clean home, a loving home. And no, they refused to give me the babies back. So the judge told them, I cannot make you open her home for foster care, but what I can do is take custody from you and give it to the Doyles. He said, and that's my ruling. He said, you no longer have custody of this little boy. He said, I'm giving the little boy back to the Doyles. He said, I'm sorry, Ms. Doyle, I do not have jurisdiction over the baby girl. So they moved her case to Acadia Parish, and with a judge that did not give me any due process whatsoever. They violated our civil and constitutional rights. They denied us due process. It was, and they refused to give me back my baby girl. When one judge has already given my little boy back, he is traumatized. He comes to me every time he turns around and he said, "Mama, where's Sissy?" He brings me her toys. He looks at her pictures. I can't go in her room. Um, my husband doesn't talk about it at all. And it's been really hard on us. And we're older parents. I'm 55, my husband's 55, but we made a commitment to these babies and we love them. And you don't have to be blood to love a child. And I'm pretty sure y'all know that. And but not all foster homes are bad. I've heard of horror stories. That's why I'm kind of in a in a panic now, because I don't know if I wonder if she's eating, if she's sleeping, did she cry for me? You know, it's really heartbreaking. It's hard on you because you don't know. I've heard horror stories since they've had her that these children are dying in these foster homes and they're being sexually abused and all these kind of things. And I just I can't imagine that. She has never known any kind of anger toward. I mean, these babies were told they were loved every morning, that they were beautiful, you know, and so when I started watching all the different, you know, pages, like my page, I started my page, and then I started seeing all these other ones pop up, and I'm like, I'm not alone. I said, but I'm not a birth parent. I'm a foster parent who got shut down because why? I don't know. My home development worker said stuff about my church, about how I can't uh make the children go to my church and dress a certain way or and stuff like that. And I told her I'd never done that. I've never done that. The children that I had were up before I was getting ready for church. So I mean, that was a weird thing to be saying. And it's just been really hard. I want people to know there are good foster homes, but they're being shut down by these people and they're doing it for money. And I know it.
Let me
I
ask
know
you
it.
this, Catherine. Getting that echo again. But when did all of this happen?
January 21st of 2022.
Okay, did you have an attorney in the girl's case in the different parish?
No, I didn't. The attorney quit on me. She told me that at first she told us 3 or 4 times $6,000 was plenty of money. She could get them both. But after she got the little boy back, she was done. And I don't know what happened there. I can only speculate. And
What's your speculation?
my speculation was that it was one for the other. That's my speculation.
Say that again. I didn't
That it was
understand.
one for the other. That they gave me little boy if she would back off. And that's my opinion. But I mean, I can't prove that.
Did you think about hiring another attorney to help
I
you with the
have,
girl?
but they want $6,000 up front. And my husband, we just got everything straightened out from the first one. And an attorney from Baton Rouge, a law firm from Baton Rouge, got my story and called me and asked me or told me that they would represent me, but I would have to up front pay them $5,000 retainer. And we just don't have that right now. We just caught up from the first one. And but we're in the process of selling our house, and we're trying to buy some land and build a home. And so I once we sell it, I was going to hire them, but I just right now I don't have it, and I can't get any information about where they have her. um the judge basically told them that I wasn't blood relation, so uh I had no dog in the fight. But according to the first judge, I had plenty.
That's it's very hard for me to hear what you're just saying right now to us, Catherine, because foster parents are no blood relation either.
That's what I said. Mhm.
Yeah, that doesn't make any sense to me. And the attorney that you hired, was it a family law attorney or was it a juvenile dependency?
It was a family law.
Okay, well, family law attorneys do not know um, a whole lot about CPS jurisdiction laws.
Hmm.
So before you spend your money, because $5,000 is very small amount when you're fighting state case, and oftentimes people settle for the cheapest,
Hmm.
thinking that's the best choice that they're getting. But if they don't understand state jurisdiction laws, it's like you're literally throwing your money out the door.
Right. And my thought was when the attorney called me and he told me, he said, well, where did the baby live? I said, the
Mhm,
baby lived from 2 days after birth, lived in the parish where I lived in until she was 2 years old, and they took her back.
mhm,
And I said, well, state law states that where you're living more than 6 months, that's your residence. And the attorney told me the same thing.
mhm, hmm. But you mentioned something just now. You said you're waiting to hire another attorney or the same attorney,
No, a different attorney.
a different attorney.
Yes, ma'am.
I wasn't here at the beginning. I'm sorry, I was with a client on the phone. But what state is that attorney? What state is your case?
Louisiana,
So that attorney is in Louisiana,
in Baton Rouge. Yes,
right? So have you searched for juvenile dependency attorneys in Louisiana?
ma'am.
Have you searched for juvenile dependency attorneys in Louisiana?
I have looked through, but there's so many, and you just don't know who to turn to or who you can trust. You don't. I put in online. I put in about what happened, and basically the the attorneys will call you if they think that they can win your case, and that's what I did. And then they called me like a week later, and there was two of them. It's a law firm, and they were there together, and they said that basically they told me they could fight them and win. Um, I have backup documents from court. I have everything in black and white. I mean, there's no getting around it. They lied, they connived, and they did everything they could to keep my baby girl. And they were trying to keep my little boy. That one of the workers told me up front, she said, well, we didn't want to give you him either. And I said, well, sorry about your luck. I said, because the judge thought different. He said he would have given, she would have went home that same day had she have been in his jurisdiction. So what he was told was that she was not that he did not have jurisdiction over her
Mhm.
because she was in custody of CPS.
This is so twisted.
It is.
How far are you physically from the the parish that where the little girl is out of?
About 45 minutes.
Okay, so the attorney that you did hire, who was successful that one time, she could drive there, right?
Oh, yeah. Hmm.
You know, I happen to know an attorney that's in Baton Rouge, and he's a very well-known attorney. I can't remember if he does juvenile cases or not, but he's one of the top attorneys in Louisiana. If you call me tomorrow, I'll give you his name and number, and you can call him and see if he can help you.
Okay.
He's I think he's a board member, but I know he's an instructor at what used to be called the Jerry Spence Trial Lawyers College.
Mhm.
He's an excellent attorney.
Okay. I've been to the governor's office. I've been to legislature. I called out Miss Walters, who was over the whole secretary. She was the secretary of DCFS.
But hold
I
on a second.
I
Hold on a second. I want to tell you something. And a few weeks ago, I was talking to Miss G about this, but I want to explain this to you. When you call the governor's office about something that happened in the judicial system, there's a very small chance the governor is going to be able to do anything. You remember from civics we have a three-part government: judiciary, executive, and legislative. Remember that? So you're calling someone in the executive branch to do something in the judiciary, and that it doesn't work like that. You might as well call, the chairman of Google. He can't do it, or she can't do anything either. And calling the legislative branch, not going to do anything either. You need to be focusing on the judicial branch and filing some types of writs or motions or appeals. Now, I will tell you, if you had this case in California, and I can only imagine, Louisiana, who's on the French code, your laws are based upon the French code, and our laws are based upon the English code. But if you were in California, there's a concept in the law called res judicata, or collateral estoppel. And it basically means if you win in one case, it's almost automatic that you win on the same issue in a related case. So I don't know if they talked about that when you went to the second courtroom and the judge ruled against you, but you didn't have an attorney. If you had an attorney, I would bet $1 that attorney would have raised that concept. And if the judge didn't follow it, that rule of law, you could have easily appealed that. Now, I'm not trying to call you out or embarrass you or anything, but I know money is always an issue. Okay, I got that. But did you think that because you won the boy back, that you would automatically win the girl back? So you thought, maybe I don't need an attorney? Hold on a second. Sorry, you were muted. So did you think you didn't need an attorney?
Correct.
Yeah. I kind of got that from your story. And, I come across that a lot in talking to people, because they just think common sense is going to play out.
Yeah.
And common sense, I don't need the lawyer. Common sense says I'm going to win. Justice will be done, and I'll just go to court and get this child back. It's just, a procedural thing.
Right.
And then you leave the court and you don't have the child, and the judge rules totally against you. And then you're shocked.
Oh, they didn't even rule against me. They never gave me nothing. They didn't do nothing.
Okay, so if you were in California, and again, I don't know what it's like in Louisiana, but if you were in California, you get a hearing to challenge CPS's decision to take that child away from you. And for many years, it was just something that was out of fairness, because you had been the foster parent for so long.
Mhm.
But I don't know how many years ago, it hasn't been that long, but California codified, in other words, put into a statute, that if you have that child for a certain amount of time, and I think it's 6 months or more, you get an audit. You have to ask for it. You get a hearing to prove to the judge that they shouldn't have taken the kid away from you. Now, I don't know if you would have known, if you were in California, to even ask for that hearing without an attorney. Because if you don't ask for it within a certain amount of time, I think you lose that right, even here in California.
Mhm.
But the next time you talk to an attorney, you talk to him about that, because in order to ask for the hearing, the social worker is supposed to serve you with paperwork and the warning that says, hey, Catherine, you can have a hearing if you want. And if they don't do that, the time doesn't expire and you can still file it even today. I'm talking about in California. The other thing that you might want to talk to the lawyer about is filing a motion for what's called de facto status, if you have such a concept in Louisiana, and filing something called a presumed parent motion. Because it seems like you might be the only parents that these kids know, or this child knows. And the law, at least in California, again, I don't know about Louisiana, says, well, at some point, you're really the parent, and you're the presumed parent, and we're going to give you rights just like a parent. So we're going to give you those due process rights where you get different types of hearings, where you get family reunification services. It makes no sense to me, and I guess you already figured this out, that one judge gives you back the child who you've been raising its whole entire life, and the other judge goes with CPS. That doesn't make sense. That's like these stories that people come and tell me sometimes, well, I got two of my kids, but they won't give me the other two. Like, how does that work? If you're a danger to kids, it's all kids, not just two. And it just leads me to believe that something else is going on. Yes, Miss G.
How old was the other child that wouldn't the judge would not allow you to have?
She's 2,
Right. How old is the one that you got in your custody?
2.5.
That's weird.
Yes.
Very, extremely. And so,
Wait, is one of them a special need, or are they both healthy children?
They're both healthy babies. They're both yeah, they're really healthy.
Is it a boy and a girl, or just two girls or two
It's a
boys?
boy and a girl.
Which one is not in your custody?
The girl.
Right. Okay. So I've heard this before, and I'm gonna just tell you. Oftentimes, when their kids are under a certain age, they put the children in a foster home, adoptive foster home, right?
Yes.
Adoptive foster home might want only daughters, I mean, girls and not boys.
No, they wanted them both. They were going to take them both, they told me. But
Really?
we won them. We won them. When he came back, he showed signs of that he was mistreated. Even before that, at one of the visits that we got, he had bruises on his both sides of his cheek, on his forehead, his nose, and we brought it to their attention, and they were like, "Well, can we have the pictures?" I said, "No, but you can look at them." I said, "Because I'm keeping them," and but the whole situation was just not right. I mean, I told the lady, I said, I want both my babies. I don't want just one. I'm not going to be happy with just one. You think you can say, oh, well, here's the boy. You don't need the little girl. I said, I put my heart and soul into these babies. I said, these are my babies. And I feels like they ripped part of my heart out. And yeah, I have these, thoughts of her being mistreated in these foster homes, and it's just not good. And I go through my day smiling and being, happy around my little boy. And at night, I'm just always thinking about, is she okay? Is there anybody hurting her?
Mhm.
You know, it's just, normal things
Mhm.
that you would worry about. And I miss her really bad. And
I know you do. I know you do. Who told you that the foster parents wanted both kids? The social worker or
the
the foster?
social worker.
Don't believe that. That's a lie. I
That's,
don't believe anything that comes out of their mouth. They're liars. They're pathological liars.
mhm.
They deserve nothing but pain.
Is this, the 2 workers that I had for my little boy and the little girl, they quit because of what they were doing. They quit their job.
I
The 2
believe.
the ones that came to my house were good. They came, did their job. They're very kind to me. Never had a problem with them. It was my home development worker.
Mhm,
She has done this to other people, I heard, after the fact.
mhm,
Um, and it was a bunch of horror stories just like this. And I was like, man, I said, I don't know. I was angry, and I was thinking, she's playing God.
mhm,
She's saying, you're gonna have these babies for 2 years, 2.5 years, and you're gonna love them, and you're gonna think you're gonna adopt them, but we're gonna come take them. Anybody can call in, anybody can say anything about you, which I don't believe. It, I don't believe in people being able to call them and say things without them being investigated first. And
mhm,
I have told them, y'all need to investigate these people calling in,
mhm,
because they're uprooting these children and destroying their lives. These children were happy. They had a worker that came into my home for 6 weeks. She spent 70 hours in my home because they hired her to do that.
mhm,
And she came into my home and she said, I asked her, I said, why are you here exactly? And it's a very nice lady. She said, I really don't know, but we're going to go through this process and see. She would ask me, do you misuse your medicines? I said, no, ma'am, I don't. A matter of fact, I quit all my medications, even though I needed them. I quit them all. And she told me, she said, you need your medications because they have my medical. They said, well, you need your medications. But I said, look, they're not worth my kids. So I quit taking them. And the judge even said, he said, if you can quit taking these and go cold turkey, he said, I commend you on that. And I said, look, my kids are more important. I don't care. And this woman deliberately lied to the state Baton Rouge office and stated that we never told her that I was on pain medication. And that was a lie because we had to give paperwork. My doctor sent a copy of what he gave her.
Mm-hmm.
And it was on there. And she sat there and lied through her teeth. She is ruthless and evil. That woman is.
Catherine, let me ask you this. You said that the two social workers quit because of this. Do you know their names or how to get in touch with them?
Actually, I do know their names, and I am trying to contact them.
Okay.
Because I don't know that they quit because of my specific case, but right after court, they quit because I called to talk to them, and they said they no longer work here. And one of them had documentation, as in, see, they overloaded my house with 11 children. Me and my husband had 11 children for 2 months. They lied and said that never happened. I said, well, we got school records. We got pictures of the girls in our home. We got witnesses everywhere. Our church, these babies, everybody went to church on Sunday and Wednesdays. Everybody in my church could tell you that those babies were there and those girls were there. I said, y'all are lying. I said, 11 children. I think my lawyer said she felt like the home development worker got reprimanded for putting 11 kids in my home. And so she took it out on us. And she was ruthless. I'm telling you, it was not okay.
I don't think they need a reason. I don't know why I'm echoing, but I'm gonna somebody okay. I don't think they need a reason for their demons to come out. They actually do lie. I don't know if you watched our previous shows, but I did mention now she is a good friend of mine. She was a previous social worker. Me and her are in contact, and she shares a lot of information that I wish to God she can come on the show, but she's so nervous about that.
The workers that I know the one worker, my baby girl's worker, she's still working there. When she brought that baby to me, she was so excited. She comes see the baby every month, talked about how good she was, how healthy she was, and how loved she was, but she's still working there, and I still have contact with her on Messenger. And she called me one time, and in the back of my mind, I was thinking they put her up to that because she's at work right now,
Mm-hmm.
and and she's scared to death to lose her job.
Just
And
so
I know
you
that.
know, just so you know, the worker that I talked to, the previous worker, she said that they actually give promotions to other workers who lie
Oh wow.
to get children. So basically, the ones that stay there are the ones that condone the bullshit.
Oh
The ones that leave are the ones that can't sleep at night from the bullshit.
well, the
And
two that left are really good workers, and they really were. And she was. I just don't get it.
it's the corruption is it is so corrupt everywhere in the United States. There's actually no it's like they need to clean the swamp, I guess I should say, like President Trump used to say. And I can't believe I'm saying that. Um, but they need to clean the swamp because there's corruption everywhere in the United States. It's not just Louisiana or Ohio or Arizona or Los Angeles or, people always say, oh, yeah, my state is the worst. No, all states are the worst. And anywhere where there's children being stolen from you is literally because of money. Because of money. Right. Now that the news is on it, Fox News is investigating cases now.
I tried to get a hold of them.
It's foxinvestigate.com. That
Okay.
you need to email to
o-
foxinvestigate.com. And
Okay.
oftentimes they will ask you if your case is still open. And it depends on the case and the severity of the case. I think one of the journalists told me that if the case is still open, they can't really do anything. They can do something before.
Mine's not open. They closed our house.
Okay, then yeah, you can definitely in foxinvestigate.com.
I'm not one of those mamas that's going to sit back and give up. I'm just not. I can't do it. I can't sleep at night. There's no way I'm giving my child up.
I understand. And it's all money. It's all money. That's all it is. So, wow. I don't even know what to say, Mr. Davis. You have anything to say?
I posted your website that you mentioned, foxinvestigate.com, and it's not coming up. We might be missing a word or two.
What is you said? What'd you say it was?
Foxinvestigates.com.
Investigate or investigates, plural.
Investigates.
Okay. And that's my issue. Let me see if that one works. No, that one doesn't work either. Well, maybe tomorrow we'll come up with the correct, because I think that would be a valuable resource for people to know, that they can report their own corruption, because if enough people start complaining, that's how that's the beginning of change in any society or social group. Miss
I know.
G, go ahead, Catherine.
I know. I've read a lot of stories since it started, and it's all about one of the reasons was it was all about bad foster homes and bad parents or bad workers and stuff. And I part of me was like, well, I do agree with that. There are a lot of bad foster homes, but you don't hear about the ones like my home. You don't hear about the good ones, because they are literally closing you down because I don't know exactly how to explain. We don't have to pay to adopt. When you go to court to adopt your child, you do not have to pay for that. You may pay like court costs, and that's it. But if they take those children and they put them in another foster home, then they get paid big time, anywhere from $7,500 to $50,000, and that's what I was told.
Yeah, we have to follow the money. Did you ever adopt the boy that was returned to you?
We have right now we have custody, and they told us that we would have to go through an attorney to adopt, which is fine with me. We're working on that now.
Okay, very good, very good. Well, Miss G, did you have any other questions for Miss Catherine this evening, or comments?
No, actually, no. But I'm very sorry you're going through this, Catherine. And like you said, don't give up.
I'm not. Thank you.
Catherine, thank you for coming on and sharing your story. If you find the names and contact those social workers, I definitely would like to talk to them. And if I started this, I think, last night. If you or anyone out there has a story to tell, I would be willing to help you write a book to share your story, and you can self-publish it through Amazon.com. Okay?
Okay. Okay.
All righty. Thank you, Catherine, and good night.
Thank you. Good night.
Well, Miss G, that was an interesting story. A foster parent being railroaded by CPS.
But aren't the kids in another foster home or no?
Well, that was just it. They took both kids. The judge in her parish returned the kid to her and said that they was I guess was the judge divested CPS of jurisdiction of that child and gave
Mhm,
the child to them. The judge in the other parish for the girl
mhm,
decided to go along with CPS and did not give the other girl back.
mm.
And, I mentioned those two things about collateral estoppel and res judicata
Right.
are legal arguments that could have been used to get that girl back.
Mhm.
And I still think that they might be able to do that, or Catherine may be able to do that, but she's going to need the help of a lawyer, definitely. And
Yeah, but
I hope she remembers she's supposed to give me a call tomorrow so I can give her the name of the lawyer that I know in Baton Rouge.
okay. At least you know somebody there. A lot of people are having a hard time finding one, and I would like to understand how can family law attorneys take advantage of people like that. I mean, there was one that you know of. He, I mean, he was humiliated by the way he lost his practice. He can't even be an attorney anymore because I'll write the name in the private message,
Okay.
but he lied and said that he understand um, jurisdiction. I mean, CPS laws and what have you, and he didn't know shit.
Well, in this particular case, the woman that represented her
Mm.
initially for the boy, she did win the case. She's looking for or going to have to find another lawyer that understands CPS law to help her get the girl back in another parish, another county. In Louisiana, they don't call them counties, they call them parishes.
Same thing,
So,
counties. I
yeah,
mean,
it
it's a
is. You're right.
county. It's just a different name for it. But right now, what advice would you give the public? Um, and I get this a lot. A family law attorney told me he'll take $1,500 down. I'm like, no, $1,500 is not gonna do shit for you. This not. Let's be real. It's not gonna do anything for anybody. So, what advice would you give people um, that just want to go cheap and they're not even hiring the right attorney? So, might as well just stick with the court-appointed crappy attorney. I
You
mean,
know, I mean,
why even spend your $1,500-$1,200?
because I think everyone's looking for a solution, and it's a bad strategy. I have to tell you. It's America. You get what you pay for, generally. And, but that's just the decision a lot of people make because everybody, we're all discount shoppers.
Right.
We're all looking for the cheapest price. Even I can't speak for you. I don't know your buying habits, but that's me. I go to the grocery store or look online and I'm looking for the dishwashing liquid that's the cheapest. I don't just
That has
buy
nothing.
Dawn.
Yes, I'm like that too. But we're talking about food and beverages. We're not
Right.
talking, I go for the cheapest gas too. Like I'll drive around to look at the cheapest gas, 10 cents less or 5 cents less. And my friends make fun of me. They're like, okay, you're gonna drive all the way down 5 miles for 5 cents,
Right.
But this is the completely different. This is children. These are children. I have a PNC today, a potential client today. She inherited money from her dad, and her husband told me that that's too much money. And it was less than $6,000. I told them, you know what I mean? So kind of like, are you kidding me right now? So I said, what do you think the attorney's job is to go fight for your case? It's not just to sit there like a court appointed attorney and do nothing or say nothing. I said there's files that has to be, there's petitions that has to be filed, there's court hearings, there's work of an actual attorney. And she said to me, her and her husband, well, we want to save the money. We want to
And
save the money.
and you know what?
The kids, the
I
fucking
know.
kids, though.
I
I,
I can't I
I,
can't blame them. I can't blame them. That's their life. That's what they want to do. That's what America is all about. It's not what I would do, not what you would do.
no, it's
Mm.
not.
My I went to a dinner this weekend at my daughter's house.
Mhm.
My daughter has a child that's about, I think, 3 months old. And when I was driving home, I was thinking, what if, you know, CPS came in and took that child away from my daughter?
Good.
You know, what would I do as a grandfather to get that child back? There's nothing that I wouldn't do. But that's just my own personal feelings and emotions about it, right? And if you tell someone, like someone called me today, interesting case in Jacksonville, Florida.
Mhm.
Jacksonville, Florida. Told me a case. It was actually unbelievable. I mean, it was so horrendous what it was alleged CPS had done, and they wanted me to come and represent them. They had seen the YouTube videos and read my book and all that type of stuff. And I told them, this is going to be expensive for me to come back to Jacksonville, Florida. I'm in LA. You want me to go across the country to Jacksonville? And they were shocked. They were a little shocked that I would charge money because they thought that I would take money from the civil rights lawsuit, which, will happen in 3 years. And I asked them, well, who's going to finance it all that time?
Mhm.
Right. I mean, if I have to fly back to Jacksonville, who's going to pay for the round trip ticket? If I have to spend the night at a hotel, who's going to pay for that? Food, Uber, taxi, whatever, rent a car. Right. And, you never know what's going through people's mind. But what they told me was you know, they thought I would take care of all of that expense. And I tried to explain to them. And then at the end, I think the father understood, but the mother, you know, called me every name in the book.
If I may add something to this, okay, and I actually want to, well, I'm just gonna speak my mind. I'm not gonna sugarcoat it, as I usually don't really. Um, but I really don't sugarcoat anything. I wish I know how to do that. I really do. But that's why my dad used to call me the monkey of the family. I literally said whatever's in my heart. So what I'm gonna say right now, it might hurt some people, but I really don't care. I'm just gonna speak the truth. The truth is this: you guys, when you call and you want to hire an attorney, don't expect that you're mm, privileged to have the attorney work for you for free. I oftentimes tell people this. I ask them this: do you want to work for free? You want to work for me for free? Because I'm looking for some case managers to work with me. You want to work for free for 2 years? And then they look at me, I mean, they listen, they pause because I don't hear anything. And then they say, no. I said, then why do you expect our attorneys, who also have mortgages to pay, rent to pay, car notes to pay, family to feed, work for you for free? Oftentimes, you guys are delusioned. Why? Because you think attorneys are millionaires. That's not true. They actually work for a living. Just like you have to work for a living, they have to work for a living. So don't think you're obligated. Don't think your case is special, because everybody is fighting for the same cause. So if you're going to prefer to save your money, not hire the attorney to help you get your kids back, then that's on you. But don't say and lose your mind to me that Mr. Davis should have a heart. You motherfuckers, you should have a heart. No, we're not motherfuckers. I hear this all day long. I've been called a cunt, a bitch, a motherfucker. I've been hung up on. All this bullshit is so immature. You, I wouldn't, if I was an attorney helping you, I wouldn't want to help you, because your mouth is beneath you. It's so disgusting to me. how people can just think that we are obligated to help you for free. When you go work for free for 2, 3 years to someone, then come and talk to me. But it's not fair how you guys treat us when you call. And I'm not saying all of you do it. A lot of you are amazing human beings, but some of you are really out of control. Attorney Davis does these shows for free to give you advice. He sends his books for free to help you with your case. How dare you, some of you that tell me he doesn't have a heart? You don't know him like I know him. He does have a heart. He gets on my nerves as a boss, but he has an amazing heart when it comes to children. So, before you call me, if you want to, do not have that hat on that you think you're privileged and we are obligated to take your case. I bust my ass for everyone. I call Davis at 10:30 at night, at 11:45 at night. He doesn't answer me sometimes, but I try to wake him up to be on the phone on a call that I'm on to help a mother who's in tears and needs advice. I do that for you guys. So we don't deserve this type of treatment. We don't deserve this type of bullshit. So think about it think about what you're going to say before you say it, especially to me. And if anybody ever says Mr. Davis doesn't have a heart, I'm going to hang up the phone on them. So expect that from me. And I'm done.
I guess that says it all, Miss G. I want to thank you for being a co-host tonight. Thank Miss Cassandra. We lost her during the show. Something must have come up. Thank you again. And I want to thank our guest as well. We'll be on tomorrow night at our usual time, 7 p.m. And hopefully you guys will tune in and listen. If you have questions that we didn't get to answer this evening, go ahead and call us or email me, or try to come in and the show tomorrow and post them again. Maybe we should devote a show just to answering questions from people.
I was about to tell you that because there's a lot of people like Jen and all these people, they have questions. And I think we should, instead of having a guest
Right.
on the show, I think we should do that like at least twice a week or 3 times a week.
That's a
I
good
think
idea.
that'd be great.
That's
Yeah.
actually a good idea. And since
Mhm.
we try to do the show 7 times a week, let's just do it 3 times a week. No
Yeah.
guests, and let's make it though the same 3 nights.
Yeah,
So
see,
everyone,
look, we're getting good feedback right now.
right.
Please do, because a lot of people, when they speak with me, they want to be able to ask questions and for them to hear your answers, and
Okay.
that would be a great way.
Okay, so do me a favor.
Mhm.
Tell Grace, our producer, tomorrow or tonight, whatever you want to do it, that three days a week we're going to devote to answering questions from people that want to just log in. And I told you the other night, and I'm still trying to figure out how to do this, is to combine a call-in show on Blog Talk Radio with the live stream, so people can just actually call in instead of just posting. Right
Mhm.
now, we'll deal with the post until we can figure that out technically, but it would be like having the radio show with video, and everyone can hear everyone's question and the answers that I give.
But if I may give you my feedback, I know
Sure.
you didn't ask for my advice or my feedback, but when they call in, it takes longer time because sometimes the connection is bad. So other people want to be able to ask questions and we can just read it for now. So that way we can answer the question faster. So we can try to get to everyone as fast as we can.
Okay.
So that way nobody's left out. And if
Well, we'll start that tomorrow night. It will just be questions.
so, it would be what tonight with Vince, questions tonight with Vince,
Yeah.
ask questions tonight with Vince.
Yeah.
Okay.
So today's today's Wednesday. So we'll
Mhm.
start it tomorrow night, Thursday night.
So okay, so tonight, what do you want the name of the show to be so that way they know?
You
Tonight,
decide.
questions
You
with.
decide.
Okay, I'll decide.
I'll just be there and answer questions.
Perfect.
Okay. Thank you again, and good night, everyone. We'll see you tomorrow at 7 p.m. with our question and answer night. Bye-bye.
Ventures with Vince. I like that one. Ventures with Vince. Okay. Thank you, Paulo. I'm going to use that. All right, guys. See you tomorrow night. Bye.